Namaste. Welcome everybody to the Intro to Ayurveda Masterclass series. So basically I'm just running this little masterclass series so that you all get a better understanding of Ayurveda. And we're going to be doing it day by day. So over the next 5 days, I'm going to be jumping in here at 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And I will be taking you through a little mini series just to introduce you to the foundations of Ayurveda. Some of you may have in-depth knowledge of Ayurveda, and it's just a nice little reminder and deepening of our wisdom, because sometimes no matter how many times we hear things, it's that one time that we can just it really resonates with us. And we're like, I haven't thought of it like that before, or I knew that, but I kind of just forgot about it. And I'm really inspired now to start implementing it into my own life so I can, optimize my own health and well-being. So welcome to the very first class. These classes are only going to run for about 15-20 minutes. So it's just short little snippets just to get you aware of the power and the beauty of Ayurvedic wisdom and how you can infuse it into your own life to optimize your own health and well-being. So the goal of today is to introduce you to Ayurvedic concepts in an easy to understand way so that you can apply them to create more balance, connection, health, and wellness in your life. So I guess if you're in this group, you probably have some know-how or some knowledge or some experience with Ayurveda. So in the comments, I would love for you to comment what experience you have had with Ayurveda, because I think it's really, really important to know where we are, because Ayurveda always meets you where you are at. And that's the beauty of this medicine. So just a quick overview of what we will cover in the 5-day mini series. We're going to be covering what is Ayurveda. So that's what we're going to do today, the intro to Ayurveda. And also what Ayurveda is not, because there's a lot of misconceptions about Ayurveda out there, and I would love just to bust those right now. And then tomorrow we're going to look at Ayurvedic psychology, and then we'll go into the 5 elements, the doshas, so the mind-body doshas, and then we'll finish off by looking at the Ayurvedic dinacharya and lifestyle medicine and Ayurvedic nutrition. And then, of course, if you're interested to take this beautiful wisdom deeper and really start to apply the wisdom to yourself to cultivate a better understanding of how you operate and what influences your overall health and well-being, as well as how you can use Ayurveda to up-level your own business or your clients or your family, then I will invite you to become an Ayurveda alchemist. But let's get started with today's class. So before we do, I would love to introduce myself properly, because I know there's a lot of new people in this group, which is absolutely amazing. I'm so proud of this beautiful community that we have built. But for those who don't know me, my name is Harmony, and I'm an Ayurveda and women's health practitioner and the founder of the Ayurveda Alchemist Academy. So before we get into the content, I would like to share a little bit about myself and my story of how Ayurveda really helped me personally. For years and years, I suffered from irritable bowel syndrome, so a lot of bloating and digestive upset. And from an Ayurvedic perspective, now I can say it was low Agni, so a poor digestive fire. And with that came a lot of anxiety. And I also suffered from hormonal imbalances, all while I was running multiple businesses, working as a registered nurse, teaching yoga classes and Pilates classes, as well as raising my twin boys. So as you can probably tell, I was really overwhelmed and my body was absolutely overrun. The most frustrating part was that no matter how many professionals I saw, no matter how many doctors I consulted with, consultants, nutritionists, naturopaths, I wasn't making any headway with my health issues. And it was kind of embarrassing because I was a health professional myself, but sometimes we need to look outside of ourselves. And at that stage, like I said, I was a registered clinical nurse. I was a yoga teacher. I was a personal trainer. I'd done health coaching. I was mindset work, like all of the things, but I still wasn't getting on top of my own health issues, which was really frustrating for me. And, you know, part of it was because I didn't really, I guess, change anything at the time other than just hoping that someone would give me sort of a quick answer. But it wasn't until I turned to the principles of Ayurveda and integrative health that my situation really changed. And I realized that, you know, our holistic health, the way that we look at it, even if we have heard of other holistic health practitioners or coaches in the past, they're really looking at one aspect of holistic health and not taking into the fact that we do have a physical body with real symptoms that are presenting. And yes, we do need to treat those and we need to get to the root cause of those. But at the same time, we also need to address our emotional state and our emotional well-being, our mental health and our mental well-being, and a deeper connection to ourself and our spiritual self is also really, really important. And being able to see the bigger picture and our deeper connection to our purpose is, again, really, really important. And Ayurveda, it just wrapped all of these up into a beautiful framework and allowed me to see things that I had never seen before in regards to my own health, even with all of the years and years of health training that I have done as a health professional. So when I really started to study Ayurveda deeply and go really in depth with the knowledge and all parts of it, the physical aspects, the Ayurvedic psychology aspects, the philosophy, I really got a true understanding of where my imbalances lied and why I wasn't being able to help myself, because I was just sort of trying to treat the symptoms and superficially looking for that underlying cause, and knowing even, like, you know, that I was in sort of rushing women syndrome and I wasn't doing that much about it, to be honest. Yeah, I was doing some meditation here and there, but I was still caught up in the hustle of life and I wasn't really adopting a full lifestyle medicine. So when I did start to really apply the Ayurvedic principles to my own life, they quickly helped me achieve more balance in my life and minimize my health-related symptoms. And I just knew that there was something so powerful in Ayurveda that I had to dive deeper and I had to share it with my clients and my students. And I had to really, really understand this on so many levels so that I could continue helping myself and my family and my friends if they wanted it, and certainly my clients. So I really dived deeply into Ayurveda and I've invested thousands of hours and dollars into learning the science of Ayurveda and the art of women's health, because that's where my passion lies, is women's hormonal health, PMDD, and high functioning anxiety. So as an Ayurveda and women's health practitioner, as I mentioned, I specialize in women's hormonal imbalances, PMDD, and high functioning anxiety. And my motivation has been to share this wisdom with women like me. So women who need answers, but aren't finding them through the traditional healthcare system alone. And I am really proud and honored to have helped over 1,000 women optimize their health, hormones, and business without the symptoms weighing them down, just through the Ayurvedic framework and principles. So yeah, so just a little bit more about me. I have had more than 17 years of experience in the health and wellness space. I am, as I mentioned, a registered nurse and health educator. I'm also a podcast host, a course facilitator, and a clinical business mentor, and a mother to my twin boys, Xavier and Cruz Stag, and wife to my wonderful husband, Phil, who is so beautifully supportive and has also really embraced the Ayurvedic lifestyle as well. The other thing about me you must know is that I'm slightly chai tea obsessed. I'm an outdoor adventurer and a yogi at heart. So what is Ayurveda? Ayurveda, if we look at the word itself, it's actually made up of two words. So Aya, the first part of the word, in the Sanskrit language translates to life or longevity. And Veda translates to science, knowledge, or study. Therefore, Ayurveda can be translated to the science of life and longevity, the knowledge of life and longevity, or the study of life and longevity. So however you like to articulate it, but it really is that deep wisdom of life, the life sciences, and how we can have a beautiful quality life full of longevity. But the thing is that in the West, we have been like, I guess, chasing this long life, but the quality of our life has been diminishing because we're just throwing, medications at it to mask the symptoms, and we might be bedbound, or we might have diabetes, and we have to completely watch everything we eat that goes into our body. We might be feeling tired all of the time, have brain fog. We might not be able to move our body freely in ways that we enjoy as we start to age, because we might be having a longer life, but the quality of our life isn't sustained. And so Ayurveda is about having the longevity, but also the quality. So being able to enjoy your life to the very last minute, and being able to really embrace and embody the beautiful body, mind, and soul that you do have in all stages of its life. So where did Ayurveda originate from? Ayurveda originated in India over 5,000 years ago. It is one of the world's oldest holistic and integrative health systems. It was documented first and discovered in the ancient texts of wisdoms called the Vedas. It is said that Ayurveda is actually much older than 5,000 years ago, and its secrets and practices were handed down orally prior to it being documented in the Vedas. So the elders of the community, they would share their wisdom with the younger generation, who would carry their healing secrets onto the next generation and then onto the next. So the principles and roots of Ayurveda, they can date far back to when they were first documented. It's just that obviously before they were documented, they had to be handed down in a different way, and that was through the oral route. Now, you might be thinking, well, printers and paper have only been around for so long, so how are they actually documented? That's a very good question. The original Vedas were actually documented on palm leaves. So it was started by just being translated through the oral route and handed down through generations, and then it was documented on palm leaves. And then finally, eventually it was written into textbooks, a series of textbooks actually, and they are what hold all of the traditional wisdom. And it's so beautiful because the main Ayurvedic text, it has the last 2 pages blank. And do you know why the last 2 pages were blank? Because although they knew that the wisdom, the essence of Ayurveda will never change, because it is deep wisdom derived from nature. It is the science of life, but it knew that our world would modernize. The human species, the human race would evolve. And so would science, and new emerging practitioners, new emerging health coaches would arise, and they would be able to embed all of the wisdom they have learned in the modern times with Ayurveda to also create something really beautiful and special in our modern times, and be an advocate for the essence and the true wisdom of Ayurveda and the traditional aspects of it and the traditional teachings, and be really protective and honor those, but at the same time be able to emerge new science, new wisdom as new emerging practitioners, because the science of life is always evolving and we are part of that. But the tradition and the root and the core of Ayurveda, it doesn't change, but it allows us to see life as it is now for what it is. And there's true beauty in that, because it allows us to understand ourselves and how we operate in the environment around us and the environment we have created. Ayurveda draws its insight from nature and life itself. When we align ourselves with nature's natural rhythms and live in harmony with nature, we live in a more balanced way. Every part of our life, whether that be our relationships, the work that we do, the people that we hang out with and speak to on a day-to-day basis, or people that we just pass by on our everyday. Our external environment and the food that we eat will either have a positive or a negative impact on our health. And Ayurveda is all about cultivating an awareness of this and how we respond to those external stimuli and internal stimuli, and what kind of balance or imbalance that creates within our mind body. And we learn a lot more about this when we get to the class on the Ayurvedic doshas and the elements as well. So really, Ayurveda understands that the mind, body, and spirit, they work in unison to cultivate optimal health. And that is what is so special about it. It's not just saying holistic health as in, that blanket, yeah, mind, body, spirit, like that's thrown around so much. But what does that actually mean? Like when we're looking at the physical body, we're looking at the doshas, we're looking at the layers, we're looking at the koshas, we're looking at so many aspects of the body rather than just the organs themselves, the skin and our senses. And then when we're looking at the mind, we're looking at all of the layers of the mind. We're talking about the ahamkara, the ego, how that plays out. We're talking about the deep manas, the deep mind, the buddhi mind, the deep intellect. So it really looks at things on such a deep and intricate level. And then the spirit, our true spiritual essence of who we are. And it says, we're not just a spirit, we're not just a body, we're all of that. And we have incarnated in this very day and time to be both, to embrace our humanness and to embrace our spirituality and to cultivate them together to create optimal health. Ayurveda is a science of combining the knowledge of science, the laws of nature, the human body, psychology, spirituality, and philosophy. So that is what Ayurveda is at the core. It empowers you to trust in your body's intelligence, to identify the signs of illness and disease before it manifests. It is a preventative and a treatment medicine in its own right. And that's what I love, is that if you can really embrace and embody Ayurvedic principles, you can prevent disease in the mind and the body. It's such a beautiful preventative medicine. Although Ayurveda is one of the oldest forms of medicine known to man, its popularity in the West is absolutely growing now, which is so wonderful to see. Ayurveda has also evolved in this modern time, but it is still true to its roots and its philosophy. As Ayurveda evolved, physicians identified and categorized 8 branches of Ayurveda. And so we think that, Ayurveda is just about diet and herbs and lifestyle and routine and all of that. But it actually is so much broader, and it goes a lot deeper for Ayurvedic physicians and Ayurvedic doctors. So they look at toxicology, they look at aphrodisiac therapy, they look at internal medicine, they look at surgery was even a part of Ayurveda, which some people are really surprised to hear about. Psychology is a part of Ayurveda. They had a branch called ear, nose, and throat. So diseases above the navel, basically, it was. And also pediatrics. So Ayurveda for care for children and infants. And then geriatrics and rejuvenation was another branch of Ayurveda, or is another branch of Ayurveda, I should say. The primary objective of Ayurveda is to bring balance to the body, the mind, and the spirit. Science is now backing the Ayurvedic philosophy of living in accordance with our natural circadian rhythm. A circadian rhythm is a natural internal process that regulates the sleep-wake cycle and repeats roughly every 24 hours. Those who go against this natural clock often have a lot of health disorders that have been exacerbated and or caused by living in this way. So I was even explaining this to my husband the other day. We were talking about human evolution, right? And why there are so many hormonal issues these days with women. And our hormones, they adapt to our body's bio clock, but also the circadian rhythm and the natural aspects of our environment. When, back in the days before we had electricity, we would start to rise with the light. It would just be a natural kick of light into our day. Our cortisol would start to rise. We would get up, we would have the energy to go on with our day. We would have lunch in the middle of the day where the sun is the hottest, and that's when our digestive system is most supported. And then we would start to slowly wind down as the sun wound down. There was no lights. They did use candlelight, sure, but it was very dim. So then our melatonin started to kick in, which is our natural sleep hormone. These days, there's a lot of sleep issues because our natural melatonin levels aren't kicking in because of all of the bright lights and the devices that we're using before bed. The other thing to note is that melatonin is a precursor to serotonin, our happy hormones. So there's a lot of mood disorders as well associated with being out of balance, to a natural circadian rhythm. Modern day life can cause distraction from living in this sort of natural way. And, it's unrealistic to think that as soon as 5 p.m., 6 p.m. comes around, we're going to go home and start to go to bed because, our world is different. We work later. We have after school sports with our children and all of these different activities. But it is really important to be aware of this and how we can start to have routines that help our body adapt to our natural biochemical rhythms and the natural environment outside, because that in turn does really help to balance our hormones, our sleep behavior and patterns, and our mental and physical health. And we will look at this a lot more in the Dinacharya class as well. So we do need to be aware of this so that we can make some changes, because if nothing changes, nothing changes, and you stay the way that you are in health and life and business or wherever you are. And that's just a fact of the matter. But the other thing is that change is inevitable. And so you want to get on the right changes for you and your body. Living in accordance to the circadian rhythm helps to minimize stress on the mind and body, balance your hormones. It aids in proper digestion, metabolism, weight management, and disease prevention. So an Ayurvedic practitioner or an Ayurvedic holistic health coach, they might offer lifestyle advice, body therapies, dietary advice. They can offer yoga, meditation, pranayama, which is breath work to restore the mind-body balance. Practitioners, like Ayurvedic doctors or practitioners, they can offer herbal medicine that will be able to help your individual needs or imbalances. And then Ayurvedic holistic health coaches, they're able to prescribe different culinary herbs and kitchen herbs and spices that have beautiful therapeutic effects and aid in healing and or restoring balance in the mind and the body. So now we've spoke about what Ayurveda is. I'm going to share some myth about what Ayurveda is not. So it is one of the things that I hear is that, I love Ayurveda, I'd love to learn more about it. But it's really complicated. There seems to be so many do's and don'ts and complications. And it's really not true. Like I said at the start of this, Ayurveda will always meet you with where you're at. It is a lifestyle. It is life science. So there's no rush to get there. Our life isn't a rush to get anywhere if we really embrace it along the way. But Ayurveda is a really deep personal development journey. Whilst it is a profound and complex subject, it draws its insight, like I said, from nature, which we are a part of. So when we understand that, how can that be complicated? We are a part of that, but we have just forgotten that. And then another myth that I would like to share is that I have heard from people that they love Ayurveda and they love, the wisdom that I share. but they could never really go in depth with it because they hate lentils and they don't like Indian spices. And you know what? That's absolutely fine because we're all individual, and you do not have to like lentils or Indian spices to practice Ayurveda at all. A lot of people associate Ayurveda with the doshas and Ayurvedic nutrition, and that's about it. But like I have explained, it's such a deep and profound and holistic medicine. Ayurveda is certainly not about lentils and Indian spices. Although they can play a minor role, they do not define Ayurveda or what it has to offer. Ayurvedic nutrition teaches you how to master proper digestion for good health. An Ayurvedic saying is that one man's medicine can be one man's poison when it comes to nutrition. Ayurveda always considers the individual and suggests nutrition and treatments depending on that person's unique mind-body type. And then I hear a lot of people ask about the doshas. So the doshas are the main aspect of Ayurveda, and this is what people think, that they're the main aspect and they don't know which one they are, and the doshas are all very confusing. But the doshas are a beautiful insight into who you are, your mind, body, and how it reacts to nature. The doshas play a really important role in Ayurvedic medicine, but they don't define Ayurveda either. The doshas are our unique mind-body constitution, so they help us determine when we're out of balance and what we need to do to rebalance our mind and our body. And then I've heard that Ayurveda is a type of religion. Ayurveda is not a religion at all. It is a holistic health science. It is the sister science of yoga and stems from ancient India. Ayurveda is the path to holistic health and balance of the mind and body. And yoga, being the sister science, that's more, it is the spiritual path to moksha and enlightenment. And Ayurveda also dives deep into that with its philosophies. They share the Sankhya philosophy and the psychology part of it. So when you choose to incorporate the two, it is said that you will reach the ultimate liberation, moksha. Ayurveda, as I mentioned, it's not a religion, and it respects everyone's religious views. So whether you are a practicing Christian, a Catholic, a Muslim, Jewish, or other religion, you can still practice Ayurveda. And as I mentioned, the foundation of Ayurveda is Sankhya philosophy. It's not a religion, philosophy. So the other thing I've heard is that when you start studying Ayurveda, you basically have to do all of these things so that you can live like an Ayurvedic sage and become a vegetarian. And no, you do not. Ayurveda is for everyone. It believes in balance. And even the ancient texts, the Vedas, which were the first documented books of Ayurveda, remember, they left the last 2 pages blank. Why? Because the ancient sages knew that there would be new modern world emerging science. And it's not to discount the essence and the true root of Ayurveda, but it is also to suggest, that we have these individual insights about us, and we can be these multiple aspects of us, because when we embrace all of who we are, we do get to reach our higher self and embody our higher self and cultivate that. And that is what Ayurveda is all about. That is the true essence of Ayurveda. Ayurveda says that a healthy person smiles and laughs, is cheerful and happy. Health is a gift from Mother Nature, the power behind life. Health is your birthright, not disease. It is as natural to be well as it is to be born. Now, this quote is from the great Swami Shivananda, who was a spiritual teacher, a yogi, and a Vedic medical physician. And you can see that this quote, it doesn't say that a healthy person has to have a 6-pack, look divine, and only eat salads, right? Because health is much more than the physical appearance of a being. So when we talk about health in Ayurveda, we really are truly taking that deep, holistic approach to health. And that is why it is a game changer for your own individual results, your own individual personal development, and also the results for your clients if you are a practicing health or wellness professional or an aspiring health and wellness professional. as we understand Ayurveda, we come to know that as the mind, senses, and soul are happy, one will be less likely to make choices that lead toward ill health. So when we start to cultivate this awareness, when we start to understand our senses and be able to control our senses, pratyahara is a Sanskrit word, when we can control our senses, when we can really become happy in who we are, we will start to make better and better choices. You know, when you're on that like roll of feeling really good within yourself, you're going to the gym or going for walks or yoga and Pilates, you're eating well, things just start to evolve and you just start to naturally want to progress in that direction. But have you ever noticed when you're not feeling amazing, you start to create like really salty or sugary foods, like you might self-sabotage and have those type of behaviors. You might be really snappy and cranky with people, and that you get on a roll with that as well. So when you can start to really cultivate this beautiful inner awareness and inner health, we start to make better choices that keep escalating our health. And that's the beauty of what Ayurveda teaches us as well. And then just to leave it here, I want to just leave you with this, that disease is simply a chronic state of imbalance. So if it's just an imbalance, there are certainly ways to balance yourself, your mind, your body, and spirit, so you can come back into a more balanced state, your natural state of health and well-being. And that is what Ayurveda really does for us, which is amazing. So I am going to leave it here, and tomorrow we are going to speak about Ayurvedic psychology and how Ayurveda really looks at the mind. So please, if you know of anybody who would love to learn more about Ayurveda, and if this has been really enlightening for you, then please share this mini series with any of your friends, your families, or your colleagues. And I also do run a beautiful deep self-development journey, a really beautiful embodiment program that not only helps you grow as a person and optimize your own health and well-being, but it also helps you do that for your clients so that you can create greater impact, not only in your life, but in the lives of others through Ayurveda. So whether you are already a health and wellness professional, or perhaps you're just having this calling to spread the love and the word of Ayurveda and to teach Ayurveda and create a business from Ayurveda. If you're an aspiring Ayurveda holistic health coach, then I really do invite you to get in contact. I offer free clarity calls around the Ayurveda Alchemist program just to see if it is the right fit for you. And I'm really happy to share all of the insights there with you as well. So thank you so much for joining this mini series. I hope that you got something out of today. And if you have any questions, please reach out. Namaste, beautiful people.